whitewashed by the light over here, man. It's annoying. It is annoying.
No, it's all good, man. I just got in from the gym too. We're good. Hold
Okay,
on one second.
okay.
Let me get this. All right. All right, we're set.
All right, cool. Well, hey, I want to say thank you for being a part of episode 9 of the Optimal Strength podcast. A little bit of brief thing. This podcast, I actually started this 4 years ago, right? But people not being consistent, myself, and I'm just now starting to pick it up, and the support and traction has been great. So I really appreciate A, your support, B, you actually wanting to be on the show. So thank you so much. First off, second off, I just want to say I love what you're doing. Okay, first of all, as one fitness professional to the next, helping entrepreneurs get in shape. I mean, that's first off, it's a great niche market, but also second off, it is a wonderful thing because a lot of people put their business as their life and they neglect their health and they start having
Mhm.
health issues as young as 35, even 30, because they're so focused on getting business done all day. They're taking immense amounts of caffeine to stay up. Just not a good role. So what you're doing, man, is incredible. So applause to you. And it is really great for real. And I see some of the transformations, and man, like wow. That's all I gotta say is wow.
I
So
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
wow, man. I
Appreciate it.
mean, no, it's all good. But yeah, for real, man. Like it's great. So
Mhm.
and that dives into my first question for you is what got you into what you're doing? What got you into fitness? What got you to want to help entrepreneurs get fit?
Man, that question, that question, that question is like 10 years, 10 years of crash course and just life, man. When people ask me that, when I get that question,
Mhm.
life brought me to fitness. Um, I I think I started out like a lot of people, just I had an interest in working out, like a lot of guys, man. You see the Henry Cavills or the Idris Elbas or whoever inspires you, when I was in my 20s, I just thought, okay, it would be cool to have muscle. It would be cool to put on, some muscle. I think at the time I had low self-esteem, to be honest with you. I was still in the military, and that was like my step. I started showing up to the gym. And I tell people this all the time. I didn't have any motivation, I didn't have any knowledge, nothing. I just made the decision to show up. And that type of consistency led to me honorable discharge from the Navy. And I just stayed consistent with that. And I think honestly, I just hit a point in my life, in my personal life, where I was kind of unhappy. I was unhappy about what I was doing. At the time, I think, a couple of years ago, I actually wrecked my car drunk driving.
Mm.
About 7, 8 years ago, wrecked my car drunk driving. And I like to tell people this too, because I like to tell people this, making the decision to get in shape, or people that live this lifestyle, you don't have to be perfect. I wasn't perfect when I made the decision to start. I was still eating fast food. I was still drinking. But when I wrecked my car drunk driving, that was a turning point for me, because I felt like my life was spared, and I decided to dive deeper. I decided to dive deeper into this thing that I was treating as a hobby. And I enrolled in school. I found a personal training school, and it's kind of been up from there.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, hey, thank you for your service. And B, some people have those moments where they flip the switch, or as Ryan Clark would say, be the pivot for their life.
Mhm.
And definitely that, the car and say, thank God you're still here for the first thing. And
Appreciate
that,
it.
last year myself, I got into a car wreck with a semi truck, and I'm driving a little tiny Chevy Spark, them little tiny cars,
Mhm.
right? And I'm just like, whoa, like, all right, I'm still here. Like, there's a reason I'm still here. And then
Mhm.
I just started navigating differently. I started wanting to do stuff that I enjoyed passionately rather than feel like I had to make money. Because, as a trainer,
Right.
obviously we want to make a living, we want money. So I know for me, like I started off focusing on dollar amounts instead of people. And that really started to make me not like training anymore. And I'm like, what
Right.
am what am I doing? I like helping people. Why am I miserable at seven
Right.
o'clock in the morning? Like, what's the problem? So I mean, kind of to
I
piggyback off.
think I think we all go. I think. man, I think every trainer, coach, I
Mhm.
think we all go through that. And it hurts me to see a lot of trainers in the position that I was in like 6, 7 years ago. You know,
Mhm.
you see them, the way that they're promoting, marketing, and the way that they're moving. And I'm like, man, I remember, right? I remember a time when I was, charging these low prices or doing what I thought was marketing. And yeah, I think it's a good experience because it teaches us, right? It teaches us what we want to do. It teaches us what we like and what we don't like, you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of what you said about the price and everything, like it took me a while to understand like charging what you're worth versus charging what people think you're worth. It took me
Mhm.
so long to understand that. And so, not everybody's going to say yes to what you're worth, but you know the knowledge you have and your background. Like, for example, I had a guy hit me about bodybuilding. I've never bodybuilt, I've never been to competition. And I told him
Mhm.
flat out, I said, man, I'm more performance and strength for athletes. I don't want to take your money and lead you down the wrong path and you not get the results you want. So I could have been like, yeah, sure, this is how much I charge. But then it's like, he's
Mhm.
paying me, but he's trying to actually get his pro card. I don't want to interfere with that. So,
Man, yeah, like
it's
I get that
crazy.
too. I get that too. Even women, man, they, they'll reach out. Hey,
Hmm.
I want to compete, and I'm like, I don't think, I don't. One thing I've learned is, and you know this too. I'm not telling you
Hmm.
something you don't know, but
Yeah.
one thing I think a lot of other coaches should learn is the sooner that you become clear on who you want to work with, I would say that the sooner that you're going to start to be happy
Hmm.
about what you do. I think because I admit I think there was a time when I was for everybody. Anybody could
Yep.
reach out. Weight loss, muscle building, whatever. Now it's like no, like look, you're gonna have to meet these requirements in order to work for me. And every trainer's not in that space too. When I talk about this, it's not to make someone feel bad if they're kind of in that space or doing
Hmm.
everything because I feel like upgrading your business, it's a journey, like
Hmm.
every year we learn. Every year we learn this is who I do want to work with, or this is who I don't. Even with the question, where you asked me what led me to working with entrepreneurs. I didn't always work with entrepreneurs. I think that when I hit a point that my health had fallen by the wayside after starting my business, and I had to shut my gym down.
Mm.
I shut my gym down for like 2 weeks. I got my schedule together. You ever heard the term locked in, right? When
Yep.
we use that and I wasn't locked in. I think at the time when I had started my business and stopped focusing on my health, and I kind of hit a point where I was like, okay, you got high blood pressure, you don't have confidence. This is spilling over into your business, and I shut my gym down and I got in shape. And that was the introduction for me. And I said, you know what? I think I would like to work with more individuals that want to get in shape so that they can actually become better in business. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's great. And it ties into, like we talked about earlier about entrepreneurs and their life is their business, right? And I know you preach this with your transformation, with your training, is that time management is crucial, right? Like time
mhm.
management is the thing. So, like, what advice do you give? Without telling the whole the playbook, but what advice do you give to entrepreneurs or even the general population clients, like to
Mhm.
time management for working out? Like, I mean, do you prefer them to work out early in the morning? You prefer them to do afternoon, midday?
Mhm.
What's your ideology behind that?
I'll say this. I think a lot of times when we think about time management, when someone thinks about getting in shape, and I'm pretty sure with the clients that you work with as well,
Mhm.
the first thing is people look at their schedule.
Yep.
That's what I want to get in shape, or I'd love to have a body like this guy or this chick. And the first thing people do is they look at their schedule.
Hmm.
Oh, I got to take the kids to school. And then most people just, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to get in shape. And what I've learned is your schedule isn't the key to time management. Your priorities are.
Yep.
Your priorities, like in a room full of people, this. I'm pretty sure people walk up to you when you go places. Everyone wants to get in shape, right?
Hmm.
But in a room full of people, there's only a small few that are committed and not
Yeah.
interested. Most people are interested. They see the cover of the magazine and they're like, oh man, I want a body like that. but only a few, when that alarm clock goes off in the morning, or when they get off work and it's time to not drive past that gym, or they get home and it's time to go in that garage and get that 45-minute session in instead of grabbing that pizza out of the fridge. That's when, right? And what's the difference, right? What's the difference between the person that makes a decision not to and the person that makes a decision to do it? One thing: priority. Like,
Yeah.
is it important to you? And if it's important for you to get in shape, out of that 168 hours in your week, you're going to figure it out. You're going to
Yeah.
say, where can I carve out of this 168 hours in my week? Where can I carve out 3 to 4 workout sessions so that I could potentially have the body that I keep telling everyone that I want? So I would say the key to time management, man, because all of the rest of that stuff is numbers, right? It's just like with business. It's just like with business, entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur since 2014. I've made big investments. I've taken losses. I've had major wins. And a lot of times, we think about the investment, the time, all of this stuff, but the only thing that has kept me driven as an entrepreneur is the fact that I want to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
It's my priority. So making an investment, making investment into my business and taking losses and things like that's an emotional thing. And it's you still having to make the decision to push forward. Some entrepreneurs quit. So it's the same thing. We can try to focus on the numbers. Well, I have this much time to do. You can do that, but at the end of the day, man, every we can all think. Even with this podcast we're doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
there are 10 other things. There are 10 other things I could be doing right now, right? And you
Yep.
too.
Yep.
But because this is a priority, we made the decision to be here. So that's the key to time management. Priority.
Yeah. Hey,
Priorities.
that's a great point. And a lot of people they don't really necessarily have their priorities mapped out. They necessarily don't understand, like, it's less about
Mm,
the time you have in the day, it's more about what you want to get done. Like, I tell people, for example, if you really want to train, if you really want to do it, like, you can map out easily. You can get up Friday morning, Saturday morning. Like, necessarily, if you can do it, you can do it. If you have 30 minutes to binge watch a Netflix episode or a series or an hour, you have that same amount of time you can allot to a workout or to some sort of meal prep. And I tell people all the time when they give me the excuse of, oh, I got kids. Like, for example, me, I have 3 boys, man, 7, 4, and
right.
2. Like, married, you know what I'm saying? Family
Mm,
man. So for me, it's like, I know if I don't work out early in the morning, it's not going to get done. Like, I know that. Like, my priorities, I want to be healthy for these kids and for my wife. So I have to get up in the morning.
mm.
Like, I know what's a priority. I have to get up. I don't sit there like, well, I could do it tonight or I can do it, later on this afternoon.
Man,
Like,
that's a whole conversation in itself,
yeah,
bro. Like I
yeah,
kid you not,
yeah,
we could literally do
literally.
another podcast episode on the importance of dads, man.
Yeah, man.
I
Yeah.
was on Instagram Live a couple weeks ago talking about just my schedule, and the first thing someone commented, well, I can't get up that early. I have kids. I'm like, I have a son too.
Yeah, man. Look,
I have a son too.
whenever parents hit me with, I'm like, look, I got 3 of them, man, and like,
Mhm.
I know what it's like as a dad, and what it is to try to get in shape. It's not easy. Like, when my wife was pregnant with our baby, I gained so much weight because I was eating
Mhm.
whatever she wanted to eat, and I was like, oh, it's
Mhm.
cool. I'm happy we have another baby. Nah, man, it was like, no, that was like, I gotta stay structured, man, and that it kind of ties into my next question for you is like style of training. Like, I used to be more of a bodybuilding style training, the bro split, chest day, back day. I've gone
Mhm.
more full body style. I wouldn't say CrossFit, but more of that full body focus on compound movements, have some circuits involved. What style of training do you like to do personally, and do you like prescribe to clients?
Hmm. Love that question. I would call my style like progressive, man,
Okay.
progressive training. Like what I
Okay.
what I like to do is figure out obviously what my client wants to accomplish, and then assess where they currently are. And once I know where they currently are, I ask myself, okay, what type of challenge do you need to create for this client for the next 60, 90, 120 days for them to at the end of this process, have the body that they want. So when I think of training, I think of the mindset, the nutrition, and the actual movements all
Okay.
together. I think a lot of times when trainers speak about coaches, when they speak about training, most people just think of the gym, like nutrition, mindset, and the actual gym training, the movements. And I would call that a progressive thing. Once I figure out what someone's foundation is, then I map out the challenge that their body needs to go through to make the change, to
Okay.
force their body to build the muscle, shred the fat, and things like that. But I mean, as far as like modalities, I'm a big fan of old school. I love old
Okay.
school. I love the metal clang and bang. And it's
Yeah.
not that I throw my clients into that, but I think that there's been a lot of improvements. There's been a lot of trends and things like that. But at the end of the day, for me, I've learned it's just push pull. Cardio. I mean, it's the same thing, but it's all about how you want to take it and create that challenge for the client to potentially get them to their goal.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like nowadays, and you've been in the fitness industry a little longer than I have, that it's so much misinformation about training. There's all these new fads. You get abs in 6 minutes with this workout, or you're gonna burn 300 calories with this 15-minute circuit. And it's like the old school bodybuilders or those guys are still around and in shape is that old school stuff works. It's a good blueprint for the rest of your life. I mean, look at Arnold, who's 76,
Right.
he's still training. Stallone, they still train the same exact way they've trained. They maybe added more machines to reduce joint pain,
Right.
but they still train the same intensity, the same focus, the same mindset, like you said, about mind muscle connection, aesthetics. And
Mhm.
they're in their early 70s, almost, or in mid 70s. And I think people always looking for that quick fix. So they latch on to these new fads. I mean, it kind of was, and this is not down in CrossFit. A lot of people have made
Mhm.
amazing transformation with CrossFit, but I think that was the issue with CrossFit. Initially, people latched onto it like this is this new thing, and that's why a lot of injuries started happening. People,
And
they
listen, I'll be honest.
didn't.
When I think of every injury that someone has, like I've never injured a client. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
remember a time where I've injured a client.
Hmm.
But every consultation, everyone that's ever reached out to me, when they brought up the fact that they injured themselves, of course, my question is, how did it happen? Most of the
Cross,
time, I kid you not, at
CrossFit,
least 80% of the time, these past couple of years, CrossFit is
man.
always
And
the answer.
yeah, and it's crazy because if it's done correctly, it can be really good. Like if it's programmed correctly, if it's explained correctly, it can be very, very beneficial for anybody. But it's just that majority of people that are like, oh, I'm gonna go overhead press 200 some pounds. Like, oh, hold on, wait a minute, you can't even do it. You
I
can't
think
even.
that I think CrossFit for a lot of people, CrossFit itself to me
Yeah,
is great.
yeah.
Do I feel like CrossFit is for everyone? No.
No. Yep.
Right? Just like boxing. I think boxing is an excellent form of cardio. But would I tell every client to do boxing for cardio? No,
Yo.
only a few. Um, a lot of people see the CrossFit competitions. They see these guys that are like ripped, running, and doing all this. And I think that people that need to get an actual coach and a trainer, some real accountability, some good nutrition, they don't want to do that. They're like, hey, let me just skip the steps and go over to this. Like, listen,
Yep.
you approach that environment with your ego. And because you think that, because people got to understand, our bodies are not metal. Like
Yeah.
we are humans, man. And you see all of this like snap repetitive,
Oh,
and you're gonna do this like every single day. What do you think is gonna happen?
yeah.
So I agree with you on that one, man. And then of course, I'm a businessman. You are too.
Yep.
Um, I don't I don't I don't throw shade, right? Like I don't, and I
Yeah.
know
Me
you're
either.
not
Yep.
either.
Yep.
I don't throw shade at all of the, get abs in 21 days.
Yeah.
I don't. But one thing my mentor taught me was never don't rob people out of an experience, right? And
Mhm.
that's where I'm at. I'm like, you know what? If you decide to purchase that 21-day ab thing and it doesn't work, if we have a conversation, you're interested in getting in shape, and I say, hey, this is the process I'm going to take you through. This is the investment. Obviously, I have the results, the resume, with all of those cards laid out on the table or all of that proof. If someone decides to say, hey, even though I see you have the proof, even though I see you're consistent, you're certified, everything is good, I don't want to make that investment. I'm going to go over here and get this 21 day, $22 thing. I'm not going to rob them out of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And in most cases, what happens? 21 days later, 6 months later, a year later, they're still out of shape. And my question to people when they come back, because they do, what did you learn? What did you learn? And in most cases, it's the cheap stuff doesn't work,
Yeah.
or right. Even, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree, my most successful clients, or my high ticket clients, these are people that have tried everything cheap.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You were right, man. Yeah.
These are people that have tried, when people, and that's, even through consulting, that's the popular answer. What led you to schedule this call? What led you to reach out? Most of the time it's, oh man, I've tried everything.
Yep.
I think it's a good thing for people to go try all of these cheap options and stuff. I think it's a good thing. I think that if that's what it takes for you to learn that reputable coaches like us are the way to go, I think it's a good experience.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. And
Mhm.
I just feel like a lot of people, when they have that, I feel like those experiences do rub them the wrong way though. Sometimes I do feel like they're like,
What do you
oh,
mean?
like if they have that negative response with like one of them 21-day cheaper programs, they get really discouraged to the point where you don't hear from them for 6 months or a year, or they're like, oh, like I really can't get in shape. When it's like you can, but it's like you have to prioritize that investment with someone who actually knows and it's going to actually make it for you and your body type and how your schedule, etc. And I feel like some people can get discouraged sometimes when they don't get those immediate results that those cheaper options, advertise. And it's
Discouraged or angry or upset?
that's good. Me personally, I've encountered more discouraged people. I haven't had anybody upset or angry, but I've definitely had people in consultations they're more discouraged, because they really they like the way the model made it look or whatever, and they really liked the way the program was set up, but they just didn't get the results they wanted in the time frame. And so they really were discouraged about, can they get in shape more so.
That's what makes you valuable, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Seriously, like,
yeah,
that's what makes you valuable. Now, if someone's aggravated, I think that's a good emotion. I think it's good. Seriously, if
yeah,
someone
yeah,
comes to me, because think about it, you have the person that's like 50 pounds overweight, right? Out of
yep,
shape. You have people that are like 50 pounds out of shape. They're gonna go through life 50 pounds overweight and not even give any thought to hiring a coach to get in shape at all. Like, no reason. Like, I'm fine. Cool. But then you have the individual that's 50 pounds overweight. They're like, look, man, as a result of being 50 pounds overweight, I can't run outside with my son when I get home. So we're not having good experiences. Obviously in the bedroom, not having good experiences as a result of being out of shape.
yeah.
That, right? Or I feel self-conscious in my work environment. These things are emotions, and I think that the person that has experienced that, and I know we're talking about someone investing into something that is
Yep.
cheap,
Yep.
but it's the same thing. I think a lot of times it takes, even like what I told you with me when I wrecked my car drunk driving.
Yep.
That was my turning point. I was upset. I was ashamed. It's like, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't change. I wouldn't have changed my life. But
Yeah.
I think that the fact that people are discouraged as a result of trying something cheap in things, man, I think that's what makes you valuable. That's what makes us coaches valuable.
True. 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 Well said. Well said. Well said. And then lastly, before we get into my
Mhm.
rapid fire questions, the
Mhm.
last big one is, so for younger trainers, right, that
Mhm.
are just starting off, that want to, get into the space, whether it's starting a fitness podcast, whether it's being a 90-day coach like yourself, with a different
Mhm.
niche, what would be your initial advice to them, like for them to start and how to get going?
Um, Sit down and truly write down or map out where you see yourself in the next 1, 3, and 5 years. Like, write, get a notebook or do a vision board. Truly map out where you see yourself, not someone else. It's okay to be inspired, but you map out where you see yourself. And once you get clear on that vision, then just backtrack and ask yourself, like, hey, what are the initial steps that I need to take? And another thing I would say that has taken me years to learn is if you put more of a focus on communicating to people the problem you solve instead of the services you offer,
Mm-hmm.
that will get you a lot further to help you stand out. And again, I'm speaking as someone that used to do this. I stepped into the industry selling sessions, selling workouts,
Yep.
to the 299s, the 150s, the 50 sessions. And it's not a bad thing. I don't regret it. I needed to experience the losses and the failures. But when you put more of a focus on the actual problem you solve and communicating to your audience how you can change their life, I'm going to say that's really going to set you apart, because most trainers on average are not doing that.
Yeah, man. Look, hey, I'm gonna be blunt with you because that's the person I am. It literally within the last year, I made that
Mm-hmm.
switch because I used to be the same exact posting price points. I
Mm-hmm.
used to be, instead of acknowledging what I'm good at and how I can help people, I was like, hey, you get this 12-week program for on sale, blah blah, and I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
They see this a million times on Instagram or on Facebook. Like, how am I going to help them with whatever problem that is? Like, how can I do that? And even with my general population clients, I
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, I'm not a typical personal trainer when it comes to we're going to lose weight. I want to get you to be able to move better and be more
Mm-hmm.
mobile and be able to lift a good amount of heavier weight while being mobile. Like, that's what I'm going to do for you.
Right.
Like, you're going to lose weight in the process of doing that. So I'm not going to
Right.
advertise or tell you I'm going to make you lose weight. No, I want to be able to, if you can't do a push-up by day 1, by day 90, you should be able to do 10 push-ups. Like, that's the
Mm-hmm.
plan for this type of coaching. And really, like what you said, for a lot of coaches and trainers to get into it, they come in playing the copycat game, like you said. Instead of write down goals for themselves, they base it off of a YouTube guy or an
Mm-hmm.
Instagram guy, and I think that's really solid advice and sound advice. Kind of like for me, if I'd had someone tell me that when I first got started,
Likewise.
man, the last 5 years have been like, oh, this is actually okay. This is easy. So, but again,
Right.
people who go through trial and errors, it's teaching other people is how this industry is going to grow and get better
Mm-hmm.
overall. I mean, rather than just being snake oil salesmen, like having quality coaches like yourself out here is really what's going to really change.
Mm-hmm.
And, I appreciate that. And then, so now I'm moving some rapid fire questions, man. They're one word answers for you before we wrap up. So I'm going to do first one's favorite cheat meal.
Turkey burger with
Okay.
fries.
Okay. Dumbbells, barbells, or kettlebells?
Dumbbells.
Okay. Running, the elliptical, or rowing?
Rowing.
Okay. Push-ups or pull-ups?
Push-ups.
All right. And then lastly is going to be bodybuilding or CrossFit.
Bodybuilding.
Hey, so
Jeez.
when I made the list, that was prior to our conversation. So it was like, oh, I already know what I was gonna say, but let me ask anyways.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are good questions, man.
Man,
Those are good questions.
appreciate it, man. So, hey, that's literally all I had as far as the time. I wasn't gonna take too much of it up for you because I know you're a busy guy, but I genuinely
Mhm.
appreciate you coming on to the podcast. I learned a lot just in 30 minutes talking to you, and I really appreciate it overall. I humbly do.
Yeah,
Venus,
man.
I do, for real. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot you a DM soon so we can do an IG live, man.
Yeah, hey, yeah. I'm down, man. You let me know anything you need. You let me know. I'm at your disposal as a fellow coach. So, man, anything you need, let me know.
For
I
sure.
I
For
appreciate it,
sure.
man. For real. Thank you.
Likewise. Talk to you soon.
All right, man.